right? So let's look at some things that might help us in this wise. And it's just to kill the noise in our life. And this is something that's taught by Buddha, and it's just some way of calming, the noise around. And he says one of the first things we need to do is recognition, recognize the issues in our life. This can go in different sphere in our lives, but a lot of us live in denial. If you want to have control over your life, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to be brutally concerned with yourself. You have issues, you have troubles. You have issues, you have troubles. I knew I had issues, I knew I had troubles. That's where I started from. I did not get to where I am in one day. Hey, I'm not yet where I want to be, but I'm way far past where I used to be. I gotta say that again. I'm way far past where I used to be. I'm in comfortable territory. I'm in comfortable territory. I'm not at home. I'm not at home. I've had different challenges, adversity that's hit me. Without those adversities, maybe I might say I'll be much better. But God allowed those adversities in my life. But even with those adversities, I'm way far ahead than I used to be. My life is a miracle, but I am not home yet, right? But I had to recognize I had issues. I had issues. I have exposures. I make money in one currency, I spend in another currency. My expenses in that currency might be the same, but with the exchange rate, I gotta make more where I make money to be able to meet my needs. That's my reality from a financial standpoint. My reality is that I'm going to retire in 3 years' time. Next month, I'm going to be 57. Then I have 3 years counting in a normal working life. Retirement will not come suddenly on me because I have all this time to prepare. I shut down working 3 years ago because I wanted to start I recognize the fact that I'm going to retire at 60 unless the government changes the way they do things. Retirement here in Nigeria is 60, whether I like it or not, whether I'm ready or not. But I have the opportunity to prepare. I have the opportunity to prepare. If I've done nothing, I have 3 years to go. It's all in my hands to make the best of 3 years. Whether I do nothing, whether I do something or not, 3 years will come. The only test will be after 3 years. The question is, what did I do with these 3 years that I have before me? Right? It will not be God, it will not be the devil, it will be me. It will be me, not dad, not God, not my wife, not my children, not anything else but me. I have 3 years to go. What am I gonna do with it? That's the reality for me. Reality for me, I'm a pastor, I'm a teacher, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a life development coach. I do all of those stuff. You know, I got to do this afternoon. It's just the time I chose, to do it, and I chose this time I started doing this while I was in the US, right? So this used to be afternoon. It was that I could go to church and go right. It was actually during COVID, so I was at home, but it was afternoon, right? It was afternoon in the central time. But it's a time I've chosen, meaning that I have to ask myself, what does it take to do this well? Because if I'm going to do it, I got to do it well. So I have to make some sacrifice. I have to cancel some meetings. I have to cancel some things just to make this well, because I've chosen to do this. So you have to recognize your life, recognize what is before you. For me, again, I'm ending this year. My year typically will end um October of every end of October of every year, because I use the whole of November to give thanks, and I use December to prepare for the coming year. So my 2024 ended 31st of October. So this month, all I'm doing is giving thanks and acknowledging all that God has done for me in 2024. And God has done a lot. Even though my mama died this year, June, but that does not obliterate the fact that God has been faithful. Even with my mom's dying, God was faithful, right? Seeing her through the sickness, seeing my siblings through the time my mom was incapacitated, to the time she passed on, the burial, everything. Seeing people traveling in and out for the burial. God has been faithful, kept everybody safe through that period. It's been a blessing this year for me and my farm, our first year of real commercial farming. Every other thing was like a bubble. This year we had continuous harvesting twice a month, twice a week. When we're doing the habanero, we're harvesting twice a week. We're temporarily on break with that because of the rainy season, but we're here doing bell pepper. Now we're harvesting also twice a week. And when different other things God's been blessing us with, you know, but I have to recognize that it's a reality of my life, because the strength from that is what helps me to go on. I need to recognize my strength, what I have, because that's what I'm going to fly on. That's the wind that will carry me through life, through the life that's before me, right? So you need to recognize that. You need to recognize your challenge. I have specific challenges in the workplace, and I have to be realistic with it. Either to have not probably treated those challenges the way I should. I've been one I grew up a passionate person, and I used to think that I try to be authentic. And one of that, I try to uh, be one person, that is, make visible who I am or what I feel at each point in time. But I found that some of that is probably not right. I can't necessarily show my feelings all the time, because it might communicate, though there are not too many people. There are some people that won't understand it. There's something also called psychological warfare, meaning that I can fight a battle without fighting it physically, without being visible that I'm fighting it. Sun Tzu will call it the acme, or the superior, or the supreme, the act of supreme warfare, is to be able to fight a battle, or win a war without fighting. There's a skill to that also, right? So it's not all, this is who I am, this is who I am. Sometimes that does not win. That doesn't make the difference for you. That doesn't push you forward. Sometimes that shows to everyone all your ammunition, and they're able to use that against you. Sometimes it's just having a calm personality. One of the other things that hit me, as I was meditating over this during the week, is if truly I say God is for me, right, then I need to show that in the way I do things. Yeah, there are things I need to not cross the line. I need to show that in my calm disposition. I need to be able to trust him, trust him. Yes, I'm going to do everything that I'm supposed to do, that's expected of me. But after I've done that, I need to also rest in God. I need to also rest in God, and not try to fight my own battles, right? Not try to fight my own battles, right? The arm of flesh will fail you. There's a place you're going to do your best. There's things you must do, but there are lines you also should not cross, right? There are lines you should not cross, and God expects you not to cross them. Okay? If you cross them, He will not defend you. You will regret them when you cross them. There are lines of authority you need to respect, even though they might not be working for you at that point in time. You're not going to go against the law of God just because you're trying to make something work for you. There are still principles, there are laws that govern what we do or not do in this life, and there's never an excuse to disobey them. So even as I come alive, worrying in this life, There are boundary conditions that must never cross. So when we say come alive, we're not saying just do anything. We're saying you still have you have to do it within the limits of the law, within the limits of the principles of life, right? Doing it that way might not give you necessarily the immediate result. Sometimes it's going to take time because you're doing it the right way, but the right way is a sustainable way. If you go and get it by force against these laws, it will not last. But here we're talking about something that is sustainable, something that is lasting, something that would form the foundation of your tomorrow. Therefore, it has to be done rightly. It has to be done according to what the laws are, the principles of life are, right? It's never against the laws of life. It's never against the principles of life. It's always within the laws and principles of life.